Now to the battle of the top four from the top five leagues. In the Premier League, Liverpool have been declared the winner of the league already. Congratulations to them. So from the top 2 to the 4th position is still competitive. I say still competitive because if care is not taking, Arsenal may just drop from the top to maybe, of course, I know they will definitely end up being in the top 4, but that top 2 spot is still not even sure for them. So that the top 2 to 4 is still very competitive, and we still have Newcastle being there and fighting to remain there, Manchester City being there and fighting to remain there, Nottingham Forest unfortunately dropped, they're still fighting to be there, Chelsea in the 5th position is fighting to be there, also Aston Villa in the 7th position is also fighting to be there, and it is match day 36 from this week, so they have 3 matches left to conclude the Premier League, and it is not over yet. The competition is still stiff. In La Liga, the competition is even more stiffened. I mean, the winner isn't obvious yet. On Sunday, it's going to be another Clasico. It's going to be Barcelona versus Real Madrid, and I think that will just be the decider of who is going to win the league. If Barcelona win, they are going to be 7 points ahead of Real Madrid, and I think it will just be game over already for who is going to win the league. But if they do not, if it's a draw, they are still going to be 4 points ahead. If Real Madrid win, they are going to be 1 point ahead, and anything can happen. So that is not concluded yet. So the top 4 is still very stiff. We still have Atletico Madrid fighting to remain there, Bilbao fighting to remain there, and we have Villarreal pursuing, and we have Real Betis also pursuing to be in the top 4. So the competition is far from over. Serie A is even in a bigger mess. I mean, 9 teams are still fighting to be in the top 4. Napoli is just 3 points above Inter Milan. Napoli is first on the league's table, and then we still have Inter Milan, we have Atalanta, we have Juventus, we have Roma, we have Lazio, we have Bologna, we have Fiorentina, we have AC Milan, all still fighting to be in the top 4. Man, and they have just 3 matches left, so it is something everyone should look out for. In the Bundesliga, congratulations to Bayern Munich for winning the season's title. Also, Leverkusen position as the 2nd is solidified. I mean, they are miles away from the 3rd, so the competition is between the 3rd and 4th position. We still have Freiburg, Frankfurt, Leipzig, Dortmund, and even Mainz still fighting to be in this top 4 between the 3rd and 4th position. So the competition is also stiffened there. In Ligue 1, congratulations to PSG for winning the 2024-2025 campaign. With 2 games left, we still have teams fighting to be in the top 4. I mean, from the 2nd to the 4th position, we have Marseille, Monaco, Nice, Lille, Strasbourg, and Lyon still fighting to be in the top 4. Now let's move to the fixtures from the top 5 league for the weekend. Starting with the Premier League, on Saturday 10th May, we have Southampton versus Manchester City at 3 p.m. and at the same time 3 other matches are going to be playing, and they are Fulham versus Everton, Wolves versus Brighton, and Ipswich Town versus Brentford. Then the last match for that day will be Bournemouth versus Aston Villa at 5:30, and then on Sunday 11th May we would have Newcastle versus Chelsea at 12 noon, and then Manchester United versus West Ham at 2:15. Nottingham Forest versus Leicester City at the same time, and then Tottenham versus Crystal Palace at the same time. Then the last match for match day 36, and for that day will be Liverpool versus Arsenal at 4:30 p.m. In La Liga, for match day 35 on Friday 9th May, we have Las Palmas versus Rayo Vallecano at 8 p.m. and on Saturday May 10th we have Valencia versus Getafe at 1 p.m. We have Celta Vigo versus Sevilla at 3:15 p.m. We have Girona versus Villarreal at 5:30, and at the same time it will be Mallorca versus Valladolid, and the last match for that day will be Atletico Madrid versus Real Sociedad at 8 p.m. Then on Sunday 11th May we have Leganes versus Espanyol at 1 p.m. We have the El Clasico, which is Barcelona versus Real Madrid at 3:15 p.m. and also we have Athletic Club versus Alaves at 5:30 p.m. and the last match for that day will be Real Betis versus Osasuna at 8 p.m. and that will be the end of match day 35. In Serie A, for match day 36 of 38 on Friday 9th May we have AC Milan versus Bologna at 7:45 p.m. and on Saturday May 10th we have Como versus Cagliari at 2 p.m. We have Lazio versus Juventus at 5 p.m. We have Empoli versus Parma at 7:45 p.m. which will be the last match for that day. And on Sunday 11th May we have Udinese versus Monza at 11:30 a.m. We have Verona versus Leeds at 2 p.m. We have Torino versus Inter at 5 p.m. and the last match for that day will be Napoli versus Genoa at 7:45 p.m. and on Monday 12th May we have Venezia versus Fiorentina at 5:30 p.m. and the last match for that day, and also the last match for match day 36, will be Atalanta versus Roma at 7:45 p.m. In the Bundesliga for match day 33 of 34 on Friday 9th of May, we have Wolfsburg versus Hoffenheim at 7:30 p.m. On Saturday 10th of May, we have Here versus Freiburg at 2:30 p.m. and at the same time 3 other matches will play, and they are Bochum versus Mainz, Werder versus Leipzig, and Union Berlin versus Odenheim. And the last match for that day will be Bayern versus Mönchengladbach at 5:30 p.m. And on Sunday 11th May, we have Leverkusen versus Dortmund at 2:30 p.m. and we have Frankfurt versus St. Pauli at 4:30 p.m. and the last match for that day will be Stuttgart versus Augsburg at 6:30 p.m. Finally, the Ligue 1 for match day 33 of 34, all their matches are going to be on the same day, which is on Saturday 10th of May, and at the same time 8 p.m. and they are Reims versus Nice, Angers versus Strasbourg, Toulouse versus Lens, Monaco versus Lyon, Brest versus Lille, Reims versus Saint-Etienne, Le Havre versus Marseille, Montpellier versus Paris Saint-Germain, and Auxerre versus Nantes. Hi guys, thank you so much for staying till the end of this video. Do not forget to like, comment, share, follow us on TikTok, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. For those that really do not watch football, I get a lot of, I do not watch football, but I love your analysis. Thank you so much. You all keep me going, and then thank you once again for staying, and see you in the next video.